Okay, hey Assel, welcome to our next podcast. The topic today is on B2B appointment setting and expert tips for success. So obviously we at SADA are B2B appointment setters through LinkedIn and email. So let's think today about what advice we would give as tips for success for companies that are approaching that. And maybe we could start with the pros and cons of doing it in-house versus outsourcing it to an agency. What do you think about that?
I think the best one is the level of expertise that you can get via outsourcing. Then the second thing could be pricing. And the third thing could be time effectiveness. So if you are building a whole team in-house, it's going to be a bit costly to you, slightly going to take more time to develop the expertise to manage your own human resource and etc. So if you're outsourcing, it's not your head that you have to do the whole HR thing with your in-house team and etc. And it's an ever-changing landscape. The tools are changing, the Google, LinkedIn, the algorithm is changing. So you have to basically invest in the learning of the art as well. So if you're outsourcing, this is what we do day in, day out for the last 5 years, and we have to keep ahead of the curve. So we have to learn for our sake and for our clients. So you don't have to waste your time and money in the learning phase. You can just get whatever you want or right away, slightly better pricing than having whole team in-house. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't think an outsourced agency doesn't always do anything terribly mysterious. We just do what you could be doing in-house. But as you say, we can do it a lot more efficiently. We can adjust with the changes like the Google algorithm and the LinkedIn changes. Plus, because we can see across multiple companies and campaigns what's working, we can adjust and give you the best advice. I guess rather than in-house, you're stuck trying your things and really not knowing what other ideas are out there. So yeah, it's efficiency as well. I like to think of what we do as your outsourced arms and legs, kind of doing the thing maybe while you're sleeping or while you're focusing on other tasks such as fulfillment. Next question to think about with B2B appointment setting success is the idea of like lead research and qualifying leads and mistakes that companies should avoid with B2B appointment setting.
I think the best way to come up with your ICP is look at the historical data of your clientele. And if you are starting a new company and you don't really have a clientele, study your competitors. And from there, you can see what kind of ideal profile you can come up with and what kind of customers you can target. It will just speed everything up for you. You won't have to do a lot of experimentation and market research. It can give you very solid results right away. Like this type of companies, X size of companies, and X size of revenue will generally work for you, and from there you can just learn.
Okay, sounds great. So this brings us to the next topic, which is about messaging and what we say to people. Obviously, personalization is seen as like highly desirable. A lot
Yeah.
of prospects ask us, do we personalize every message, things like that. So what would you say about personalization regarding how much or how little to think about, what's particularly effective and what's realistic really with outbound appointment setting?
One common mistake with companies or individuals who are just getting started with the lead generation, either they don't do customization or personalization at all. They just go with the generic pitch and they're super salesy and they just want to get the message across. Is not wrong, but at the same time, you have to understand that the people that you are reaching out to, they're getting tons of other messages from different service providers as well. So you have to stand out from the crowd. You have to engage your prospects, and at the same time, a lot of people does too much personalization. Like they'll just put the compliments at the start of the email, and they'll try to use the case studies that are in the website, and they'll put it up as a personalization. Like if it's too much, then it sounds slightly robotic. Even
Yeah.
if you haven't used any AI, you have done all the efforts just to learn about the company, but it kind of makes it looks AI. You need to have personalization, but it should not be too much. You need to address the person. You need to get their attention. Again, it depends upon industry to industry. At Cedar, we generally do a personalization. If there are multiple decision makers, we generally mention about each of them. Like, hey, Jen, I reached out to Asil as well, and I would like to have a conversation about XYZ service, something like that, which can get your attention right away that, oh, he knows my colleague, so he also reached out to that person. So, they are legit and they have done their research. The whole idea of personalization is to give them some sense of human touch, like it's not a mass scale outreach. Other than that, depending upon the industry and campaigns, we have done different research, like what is their web traffic. If we have running SEO campaigns, we generally mention that, oh, I saw your website have 5,000 users on average per month, and your competitor X has this much, and we have helped similar company in the past with XYZ results, and we definitely can help you. If it's relevant customization, then it's fine. If it's too much just to make sure that you are personalizing, I think that's not a good sign.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more on the excessive compliments. I've
Yeah.
received a few emails which are like, I think you're amazing, all your achievements, and it seems really weird to receive a
Yeah.
message like that from a total stranger. And I think we've talked about this in earlier episodes, but saying the right thing to the right people at the right time is just the secret sauce of outbound messaging. And so many people who get on a call with us, I always ask them, what brought you to this call? Like, why are you here? Other than that we invited you to a call. And most oftentimes they say, we've been thinking about this problem, and then your message came. You messaged us at the right time. And so really knowing your market and what they are wanting, if possible, when they're wanting it is the key. And
Yeah.
I agree with you on the personalization touches, such as like referencing their company or their industry or a keyword like web traffic or a software that they might use can be enough. And as long as the rest of the message generally makes sense to them and the problems that they're facing, somewhere in the middle of personalization, I think, is just making a bit of effort but not going overboard. Because the other problem we find people falling into with hyper personalization is they'll spend time even making custom videos and everything to send it. And if people are not even opening the message or seeing the message because it's a cold message, you're wasting a lot of time with hyper personalization. So we find a middle road where there's enough personalization to make it feel relevant, but it's also able to be scaled, and you're not
Yes.
spending ages doing customization that's a little bit wasted as well.
I'm giving the judgment not based on my personal likes and dislikes. Even in house for Cedar, we were used to do Loom videos, personalized Loom videos for every prospect that we are reaching out to. We invested a lot of time and energy on it. And like you said, if they are not opening your email, or if they are not even going through the all the message, it's just waste of time and resource. So we have done that in past, and what works best for us and for our clients is the middle road. You need to
Yeah,
get the attention, and then the message it should resonate with them, and that's the key.
definitely. On the A/B testing regarding what works and doesn't work, I recall a campaign where we're working with a British company, but trying a script that we'd used with an American company. And they really were not enjoying, the
Yeah,
prospects didn't respond very well because the American style is very like, look at our achievement, we've got all these awards and we've achieved all this for different companies. Whereas the British style is much more low key and really reaching out to create value. And so we changed the script, I think, after about 4 or 5 weeks to a bit more of a British style, offering lots of value, not bragging too much. And we saw the results significantly increase. Is that right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally recall, and it's again part of the A/B testing. That A/B testing doesn't really have to be just the scripts. It can be geographical location, it can be industries, it can be the level of personalization. So on so many different parameters, you can do A/B testing and just learn from it what's working and what's not working.
Yeah, that's right. So understanding cultural specifics as
Yep.
well, what's favorable, what people respond to. And I would say where there's a lot of noise on LinkedIn, a lot of spammy pictures, the point is to be as polite and as relevant as possible, offering as much value. So something else we do is we don't repeat our message every time we send a message. We try and offer different elements of value. So if we offer a call, we try and position the call in terms of value, like maybe it's an insight call or a strategy call. And then the follow up might be offering some kind of case study, and the third one might be offering some kind of personalized audit or resource. And that way, across all the touch points, we try and offer value to open the conversation, because ultimately to set the appointment is to get the first conversation, not the sale. So we're just opening the first point of conversation with a relevant lead. Yeah.
Yeah, and we do it across both the platforms, email and LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
on email, we use the similar strategy as of on LinkedIn, like you just said, because it's LinkedIn. Email is also crowded. People are bombarding emails and it's like trend, and you have to bring the value in each follow-up segment. However, the messaging on LinkedIn and email are going to be slightly different. Like at least that is what we do in Sader. We generally go with slightly more direct emails with some part of being salesy, and we just push for our services with different kind of offer value in each follow-up. And on LinkedIn, at the same data set that we are targeting, we generally go for a slightly conversational way of doing the outreach, where the goal is just to get the engagement rather than the sale. So once we have an engagement, we can convert them towards a call booking, and from there you can just take the conversation towards the sale.
Yeah, people respond to LinkedIn more like it's a DM chat, whereas
Yeah.
email can be a bit, they can read a bit more and understand a bit more. So we kind of tend to be a bit more gentle on LinkedIn. Plus, the fact that on LinkedIn they can check out your profile, they can read some content. There's more context on LinkedIn where they can get different cues about you. You don't need to be as direct in the sales, and it can actually be more off-putting, we find. Is that right? All right, so let's talk about frequency and follow-up. What have you learned over the years of doing follow-up both on LinkedIn and email regarding frequency and how that works best?
So back in 2019, when I started learning about lead gen, one of the gurus that I was following, he mentioned that the follow-up should be up till like 13 touch points. Like you should follow up to 13 times to get the conversion and the engagement. Over the course of years, I figured out the best way to do is just follow up with the same person up to 4 times, and that's it. If it's too much, people are going to have a very negative impact on your brand name, or they are just going to mark you as spam. And there had been times where people have blocked me on LinkedIn entirely because I was just nudging them again and again. Hey, you want to have a call? You said you would like to know more. So if you are continuously pinging, it's not a good way. So there's a different timeline according to each follow-up. But we generally do after 4 days, then after a week, then after 21 days, and then after a month. So that way we span out our messaging in the time frame where it doesn't really seem bothering. But over the course of 3.5 months, we re-engage with the same person again and again. We have already discussed like our messaging technique is slightly different. We don't say the same thing over and over again. So we are offering something new every time we are re-engaging. That's the best way. 4 follow-ups in the span of 3.5 months.
Yeah, I think it's following up a message, a cold outbound message, and following up somebody said they're interested. They're kind of two different strategies, right?
Okay.
Because we find like often the call is booked after the third or fourth message, right? Because so it's worth following that up, even if you don't hear anything for the first or second time, because often people see a message, they're interested, but they get busy and then they forget about it. And then they're reminded, and maybe they think, yes, I need to respond, but then they forget about it. And sometimes it's the third or the fourth that actually gets them to book a call. So it's definitely worth following up. But like you say, not to the point of annoyance and getting blocked on the platform. On the flip side, someone who said they're interested and they don't book the call, it is worth following that person up until you gain clarity that they say, no, I'm actually not interested. And so I would say that person could be followed up almost forever because they showed interest. And until they say no, it's worth following them up. Again, not so frequently it's to the point of annoyance. Yeah, every month or so, hey, I never heard back from you. Are you interested? And the other thing that we find, every single message, see if you can offer value in a slightly different way. So a call is one type of value, but then offering a report or a case study, offering a resource or an audit or a scorecard, inviting people to an event, inviting them to join your mailing list. There's many different ways that you can offer value that's not always a call, a call, a call, a call. And it's also just understanding the different things that are painful for them or their goals and objectives and how you essentially can help them out.
Yeah, like we discussed in the last episode, exactly the same thing. Like you cannot think of everybody as because I did the outreach, now you have to buy. You have to create a win-win situation where even if they are not willing to purchase from you, they are getting some kind of value from you. So provide the value and eventually you'll get what you want. You'll achieve your customer acquisition, you'll have more people in the funnel. So you'll have to go for the win-win strategy for everyone.
Absolutely. I think of it like, in the supermarket, you can try taste something, like often you get a little piece of cheese or a bit of sausage or something, you can try it. And giving value is like giving a taster, and it doesn't have to cost you a lot. It doesn't have to be very time consuming, but it helps people indicate they're interested. And out of 100 people, if you get 5 or 10 taking a taster, now they're the pool of people that you can build a relationship with. And the other thing I would say is sales and business is simple. It's just solving problems for people. And if people genuinely have a problem and genuinely need help, they'll be looking for you. And really our job is to get in front of the right people and offer a solution that they need. So it's not pushing something they don't want or just spamming people, with an offer. It's really about finding who needs help and then making them an offer of help, right? All right. So last question. Is there any kind of mistakes we see, and particularly as the world is changing in the time of AI, things that people can keep in mind regarding appointment setting success?
Not sure about the AI, but one of the common mistakes that I've seen across freelancers or companies that try to do things in-house is generally the inconsistency. Like they
Yeah.
either give up early or they just do it whenever they feel like doing the outreach. It's a process of continuity, and you have to put in the efforts day in, day out. Just like what a normal sales does. Like you have to make 50 phone calls a day for the whole month just to get 10 sales or 5 sales or whatever your number is. You'll have to do it on daily basis. You can't just do it on Monday and then on Thursday you'll do it again. And so you have to be really consistent. I think consistency is number one. But what about you? What is the common mistake that you see?
Yeah, I agree with you on the inconsistency part, particularly if the team is small and maybe they win business and then suddenly they're focused on delivering work and they totally forget about any lead generation, because then that creates this kind of roller coaster, right? So you have to do lead generation even if you're busy fulfilling work, because in 6 or 8 months, you're going to need those leads to be turning into new business. The thing around AI is, like any technology, it's just a tool. It accelerates things like research. It can accelerate synthesis, so creating scripts, creating personalization very quickly. So it's really great to take away research, synthesizing, compiling new things, coming up with A/B tests, stuff like that. But what is required is the strategy, the human strategy of understanding businesses with problems, offers that solve the problems. So humans who use AI are much more powerful than humans who don't. But I think companies always need to understand and hold their strategy and then use the tools to do the work themselves. So we find, there's AI that might help with data research or scripting, custom research, personalization. there's still no AI that does every single step together in the whole process to create a sales pipeline. So humans still need to build that strategy. And so it's really just about using the tools that are available to speed up your process and to reduce the amount of like tiresome research that you need to do. So really, I think AI is a friend and it's just an
Yeah,
accelerator.
definitely. I
Yeah.
think it's the wrong expectation from the AI too. Like you said, it's too early for me to make a comment. I haven't seen a lot of people adopting to it, but can be a factor that maybe in the future, after 6 months or after a year, we might see people bashing AI because it's not getting the job done because they just want AI to do everything on its own. So
Right.
it can be a factor in the future. We'll see. Stay tuned and
Yeah, we'll definitely review AI tools at some point in the future. All right, that was a long one. Thank you for your time,
yeah.
Asol. Some great
Thank you so
insights
much, Jen.
today. See you in the
Thank
next
you.
episode.